Hi, I'm Andy.
And I'm Jeannie for TeamVicarious.
Have you ever wanted to remove the rear roof off your Jeep Wrangler Unlimited, but the cost of a pre-built hoist was just too expensive?
Or perhaps you didn't have two people tall enough to lift the roof or a place to store it once you removed it.
We're going to show you how we built our own Jeep roof hoist using 4x-Trail's do-it-yourself YouTube video and other information that we found on the internet. We'll also explain the modifications that were necessary because of our low garage ceiling.
Before we get started, we'll tell you here at the beginning of the video what we learned.
Since the rear Jeep roof is only about 140 pounds, two adults of average height and strength could lift the roof off without using a hoist. However, if you can't lift 70 pounds over your head, or you need to take the top off on your own, a hoist is a great way to go.
The hoist will also hold the Jeep roof and suspend it high enough for storage, saving you floor space. The front of your Jeep will fit underneath the rear roof while it's hanging in your garage.
Even though the Jeep roof is only 140 pounds, we used materials rated at 400 pounds or more just to be safe. Our garage ceiling is only 96 inches high, which is 8 feet. We found that if your garage ceiling is less than 10 feet high, you'll probably be better off using ratcheted tie-down straps rather than fixed length towing straps. Ratcheted tie-down straps are variable length straps that you can make as long or as short as you need.
Our 2017 JK rear Jeep roof is 58 inches wide by 70 inches deep. So you need to make sure that you have at least that much space above your Jeep to raise it and store it. An additional 2 inches in each direction would be best because the roof will swing a little bit as you raise and lower it.
All the materials that we used are available on Amazon and your local home improvement store. We'll post a list of the materials that we used below. If you've never removed your rear Jeep roof before, there are two important steps to remember before you get started. First, the freedom panels located above the front seat need to come completely off before you either raise or lower the rear roof. This is because the front freedom panels are designed to sit on top of the rear roof and form a watertight seal. Second, the rear doors either need to be open a few inches on each side or taken off completely because the Jeep roof is designed to drop into place and the doors are designed to overlap the rear roof, and that's what keeps everybody in the Jeep nice and safe.
Let's get started.
These are the tools and materials we used to install our Jeep hoist in the ceiling of our garage. So we have a standard tape measure to measure 16 inches on center for the joists in the ceiling. We have a stud finder because our ceiling was sheetrocked and this helped us locate the studs a little bit easier. Standard power drill, and we used an 11/64 bit to drill the pilot holes for the lag screws. We have our Jeep toolkit and we're using the T40 Torx bit in it. We're using 1/4 inch by 2 inch long stainless steel Hex-Head lag screws along with 1/4 inch by 1.25 inch stainless steel fender washers. And these will go into the super strut and attach it to the ceiling in our garage. We also have a stainless steel ring. It's 1/4 inch thickness by 2 3/8 inch circumference, and it's stainless steel. It's marine grade, so it also won't rust, just like the rest of the stainless steel items that we're using. We have two 1,000 pound capable ratcheted tie-down straps. They're 12 feet long by 1 inch wide, and this allows us to make a variable length strap to pull our roof up with. And we have a couple of rags or towels that we used to set underneath the buckles as we ratchet them down. This way we won't scratch the top of the Jeep roof. And of course, we've got our electric hoist that we ordered from Amazon. It's capable of lifting 440 pounds, which is way more than we need since the Jeep roof is only about 140 pounds. It has an emergency stop switch, and it also came with straps, but we decided to replace those straps with the ratcheted tie-down straps that we showed you a few seconds ago. We also have a 10-foot length of super strut. It's 12 gauge, half slotted metal framing strut. It has a channel on the bottom, and 10 feet is way longer than we needed, but I didn't feel like cutting it down. So this will give us a little bit more stability and strength when raising and lowering our Jeep roof. This is what we've done so far. You can see we've made some progress. We have a 10-foot long piece of super strut. It's half slotted. It's 12 gauge steel, so it's nice and sturdy. The dimensions on this is 1 5/8 by 1 5/8, and that fits the brackets that came with our hoist. So check your hoist, see what size the interior side of the brackets are, and then see if you can find super strut or metal bar to fit that as closely as possible. The 10-foot length is overkill, honestly, but that's the only length they had at Home Depot, and I didn't feel like cutting it. So the benefit is that even though it was a little harder to put up because it was longer, we are able to attach it to more joists in the ceiling and make it more secure. And the Jeep roofs are about 140 pounds, the rear roofs on the Wrangler Unlimiteds, the 4-doors. So it's not a lot of weight, but it's just a little safer, so that's fine. A couple of things we had to work around. We had an electrical outlet up here, so we had to be careful with that, and I shut the power off before we did any drilling. We'll actually use this outlet to power the hoist, so that's really convenient for us. We have to clear the shelf in the back, and we have to clear the duct that runs through the garage. So where the Jeep roof is 58 inches left to right and 70 inches from front to back, we had to find the perfect spot to mount the hoist. And we read online in a couple places, a couple other YouTube videos, that the perfect spot, or the best spot, is if your hoist is directly above the middle of the rear window on the Jeep. So when we backed the Jeep in, we kind of found where it needed to be. We marked the spot on the ceiling, which was halfway from front to back on the rear window, and that is where we decided to position the hoist. We've got some room to go left or right, so I wasn't too worried about that, but the front to back was tight, so we wanted to be extra careful. In addition to the super strut, we needed some way to attach it to the ceiling, so we decided to go with 1/4 inch diameter by 2 inch long lag screws. And again, you can get these at any hardware store. We also went with 1/4 inch fender washers. So 1/4 inch diameter hole in the middle, but 1.25 inches on the outside so that we can slip this up and in. It'll actually sit in the channel. Let's see if I can do it over here so maybe you can see a little better. So that'll sit there without falling out. And then once we pre-drill the holes, we'll go ahead and just stick the lag screw through, get our drill, put the lag screw in, and that'll attach it to the joist. Something to note is that you want to do just the first lag screw, leave it a little bit loose, and then slide your brackets on for your hoist before you put the second lag screw in. Otherwise, you'll have to undo it, undo the second lag screw, then put the brackets on, then tighten it. So we drilled the holes 16 inches on center to match our joists. We positioned everything, we put in the lag screws and the washers, and we didn't snug everything up yet. We're going to do that afterwards. I think the next step now will be to mount the hoist on the brackets, find the final position, the exact position, and I have a mark here on the ceiling where it should go. But if we made a mistake, we do have some room to play, which is good. We can go left to right almost as much as we want. And then by simply removing the lag screw, sliding it down, putting the lag screw back in. So I think we're going to be okay, and I think we're okay front to back. The next step will be to mount the hoist and see how things line up. Let's give it a try. Because of the size of our garage, which is a little short behind the Jeep and with a low ceiling, we figured out that we have to lift the rear glass open and close the gate before we back the Jeep into place.
top.
We wanted to come up with a way that we could back the Jeep into the garage and have it centered directly underneath the hoist. The thing that is important is that if it's not centered, when you go to lift the top off or lower it, it might tilt or it might twist, and then it's kind of a pain in the neck if you're trying to do it by yourself. So centering things is good. What we decided to do was put a marker on our back wall that's directly in line with the hook that's going to come down. And in this case, we used the yellow controller handle from the electronic hoist. That's lined up exactly with the hook that's going to come down. And now when we back into the garage, we just have to line up the yellow controller directly over the center of the rear brake light, and we know we'll have everything correct from left to right. Let's disconnect the rear windshield washer line as well as the electronics to the rear window before we do anything else. For the electronics, you'll see there's a red plastic tab or a metal tab. You slide that all the way to the right. You'll hear it click twice. Press on the thumb tab at the bottom and just pull the connector straight down. For the washer fluid line that runs to the rear window, it's got a little football shaped connector at the top, and it's a two-step process. You push in the middle, there's a little plastic tab, and then while you're doing that, you kind of squeeze on the outside at the same time and pull that straight down. Now that you have the two wires disconnected from the rear window, just go ahead and tuck these in, and they can sit there nice and snug on the rear side. We'll use our Jeep kit to remove the 8 bolts that are holding the hardtop to the frame of the Jeep. Using our Jeep ratchet set and the T40 Torx bit, that's T40, we need to remove 6 bolts inside the Jeep and then 2 from on top. So the ones inside the Jeep are along the left. There's 3 here, the black ones. You see it 1, 2, and 3. And then on the right side as well, 1, 2, and 3. We'll take those 6 bolts out, and then we'll head up top and remove the 2 remaining bolts. Don't forget the 2 bolts on the outside of the hardtop, 1 on the left and 1 on the right. All 8 bolts go into the back of your Jeep in this little storage area here. So you have 4 and 4, which totals 8 obviously. If you're missing 2, those are probably the 2 bolts on top on the outside. Double check that you've taken all 8 bolts off before you run the straps through. Now that we have our Jeep back perfectly into place in our garage, we're going to drop the hoist hook down so it just touches the roof of the Jeep. One thing I wanted to show you is that we tried to line up the Jeep so that the hoist comes down about midway on the rear side glass. And of course, left to right, we also have it centered as well because we backed it in straight. So now we'll go ahead and lower the hoist, just so it touches the roof, that's fine. And we'll run our ratcheted straps through and hook them to the hoist. And as you pass the strap through, you're going to go under the open glass in the back and along the side window, making sure that the strap is not underneath the roll bar, because if the strap is underneath the roll bar, when you go to lift up the Jeep top, you're going to take the whole Jeep with you. So obviously you don't want to do that. As you can see, our ratchet strap runs along the window and not under the roll bar. Obviously, you don't want the strap to go under the roll bar. So it runs along the window and it goes out the back just underneath the lifted glass. And I'll show you on this side here where it comes out. So here's our strap right here. So we're avoiding the hinge. We're on the outside of the hinge on both sides. And we're making sure we're not pinching anything in here as well. So we should be good to go. One thing we wanted to show you before we finished with our tie-down straps is that we did slip a cloth underneath just to keep the buckles from scratching the top of the roof. So we did that on each side. And now we're going to go ahead and tighten it all down and then lock the straps into place. Should be pretty good. The other side's tight. Now when we lift the hoist, we should be able to take it straight up and at least lift it a few inches off the Jeep frame. We should be ready to go. We've got the straps nice and tight. Everything is clipped to the O-ring that's attached to the hoist. The next steps for us are to go ahead and actually lift the top off, and then I'll hold it while Jeannie drives away because we've got so little room back here. I just want to be careful that it doesn't swing or bang into anything. So we'll take it an inch at a time, but it should work out pretty well. Okay, go ahead and start the carbons. Okay, pull forward a little bit. Okay, go ahead, a little bit more. A little bit more. Okay, you're clear. We just set up a little bungee cord just on the side to keep it from spinning too much, but it's going to stay there. And Jeannie, if you come over here, we can actually drive the Jeep underneath this with the nose underneath and park the Jeep here when we just need to park it in the garage for the night. So it works out really well. It will spin a little bit. It's not a big deal. Like I said, we have this bungee cord just to keep it from spinning too much, but it's a nice strong hoist. It holds up to 440 pounds. The straps are rated at 1,000 pounds each, and the Jeep top is only 140 or 150 pounds, so we're loving it.
We just installed a do-it-yourself hoist for our rear Jeep roof.
Even with our low garage ceiling, we were able to lift the top just enough where we can gently back the Jeep out and leave the top hanging for storage.
This gives us the freedom to remove the rear roof as often as we like and quickly put it back on if bad weather's on the way.
We hope you enjoyed our video, and please subscribe to our channel to view more fun activities. We'd also love to hear your feedback and answer any questions that you might have.
For Team Vicarious, I'm Jeannie.
And I'm Andy.
Happy riding.